What kind of pictures? Like selfies?
At the end.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Snapchat for the memories.
It's a little. It's what you call that shit? Breakfast Club boys.
This is the dinner club. After
dead.
hours.
I thought he got you something when I seen it. Ring.
No, that's not the right hand.
All right, so
Not the right hand.
So you have to ring that boy like. All you gotta do is really this move, so you can just tilt it however you want.
Okay.
Yeah. You ready, bro?
Testing. Oh, how you gonna have notes but tell me I can't have notes?
I swear to God, I start off with these. I understand my notes, and I'm pretty much done as I go. Like it's straight freestyle.
Oh,
Like you know what I mean. I just got a couple. You know, you got to be serious for a little bit, and give the boys and girls some stuff.
Hi, boys and girls.
We live? Oh, like they can hear us?
Oh.
Oh man, Ziggy bullshit. Like, bro. Oh, I ain't see that. Okay.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, so check it out, man. Welcome, people, man. Welcome to Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur. I didn't know we was live yet, so man, welcome. I appreciate everybody that, you know what I mean, shows up every week and supports. So today, I have Natalie Hightower, you know what I mean? So Natalie is a local realtor here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we've worked together for about 5 to 6 years here at St. Castle Investment Group, but she's also an independent realtor. Let me say that. She's an independent realtor first, and then, you know, support St. Castle and assist us here with everything. So for those that don't know you, who is Natalie Hightower?
So some of you may know me. I am an independent real estate broker in the Indianapolis metro area. Shouldn't really say Indy Metro because oh, my bad. You said talking to the mic. I'm talking to the mic. Anyway, I've been doing real estate about 11 years or so. I started my career off with Keller Williams and Carmel. And then I've had my own independent brokerage. I'm a managing broker for myself. And I started that probably about 7 years ago or so. So I met Eric a few years into that. I've done brokerage. I've been mentored by people. I'm a managing broker. I've also done some property management before I started working with you.
Forgot about that.
And then started working with Eric. Got to dibble and dabble in more property management, commercial, and then really got my foot wet with working with investors, not just him, but a few other investors. Because prior to that, I was mostly retail sales, regular buyers and sellers. So the market's changed a lot since I first got in. So it's been an adjustment.
All right.
I'm also a swim mom.
Got you. Big shouts to Alani.
Yeah, Alani.
All right. So now that we got your intro out the way, I gotta tell you that I'm really shitty that you didn't wear your blonde wig to the damn podcast.
So if you guys watched the commercial for this, he keeps talking about Amber. Amber doesn't sell real estate, okay? I really don't know what Amber does. She's kind of like Tommy Off Martin. She does her own thing. So she's not appropriate for this. We need somebody like Kimberly here who's
like,
more
yeah,
appropriate. Amber wasn't coming to the
sweatshirt's not
podcast.
the sweatshirt don't fit the vibe either.
Yeah, like Amber.
You were supposed to come look real toxic to make this shit entertaining.
No, only one toxic person should be on the show at a time. So we'll give that one to Eric.
Hey,
if you guys want to actually learn something, you need two toxic people.
That shit's not 100%, man. Like
99.9.
This is like a pump fake for the camera, man. So, all right, man. So let's talk about it. All right. So we met in like 15.
Yep.
All right. So I was in the hood looking for tubs, drywall, and flooring, and I met your brother.
Yep.
And then
hustle man.
I was like down there on like 25th and Winthrop or some stuff like that. You know what I mean? And basically he was just looking out for me, Derek, and some other guys. And then I was letting him know that, man, I needed an assistant. The guy I had didn't work out. He offered your number. We talked. You were in property management. So how was property management for you?
Property property management is property management. I prefer sales. I don't like dealing with tenants. Hence why we hired a property manager to handle yours when we acquire them. It's different. It just depends. There's a lot more issues that come along with that, and you're dealing with a lot more people because on that side you're working with the investors, you're working with brokers, but you're also working with tenants. So that was kind of the piece that was a little difficult. It's a lot on that side.
That's the workings of it. But to really like do property management as an owner of the property management company, that could be very lucrative.
It can, but it's also very time consuming because most people aren't contacting me at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. about seeing a house. That's going to be mostly during business hours, weekends. But if a pipe bursts in a house, you getting calls at 3, 4, 5. If the heat goes out and they have kids, then, you got to deal with that right away. So.
Got you. So let's rewind back even further. I don't know you at this point. So how did you become a realtor? Like, what led into that?
So actually, I was kind of like a weird kid, kind of nerdy. So I kind of always knew I was going to go into property management. My mom had a best friend who used to build houses and switch out her houses every 2 or 3 years. I would always go with her to the building sites as a kid, pick out finishes, stuff like that. I just always kind of been intrigued by homes, decor, stuff like that. I got a degree from FAMU, Rattlers, HBCU. And my specialization is marketing and sales. So that still kind of ties in with real estate.
Gotcha.
In 2008, I was actually working in HR because I'd been in finance and pretty much business my whole life, and I wanted to switch over. And in 2008,
so you did this in 2008.
I actually started real estate in 2008. Everybody said I was crazy, so I got out of corporate. Actually, I was working at a construction firm, but it was a commercial construction firm that did contracts for like the state. Okay. And in 2008, when the market tanked, they got rid of all overhead. So that was HR, marketing, things like that. So I found myself unemployed with a severance and getting unemployment checks. So I was like, I'm never working for anybody else ever again. And so I put myself in real estate school with my unemployment and my severance. Went through that, tested, got my license, and been doing it ever since.
Got you. So what was that like in the first few years? Like, that had to be rough.
So now I've experienced like a lot of the different cycles of real estate. In 2008, it was the exact polar opposite of what it is now. It was a buyer's market. So I loved only working with buyers. I didn't do a lot of listings because listings were terrible. Listings might sit for 2 years. Buyers, you could find any house you wanted and pretty much pay any price you wanted, which is the exact opposite of everything now.
I think that when the Rona's over and all these eviction rules and collection rules that are applied right now that they can't get kicked out and things of that nature, I feel like it will become a buyer's market. When she says buyer's market, that means it's easier for an investor to buy properties at a lower price point. And so I think it'll be a lot easier and more deals will be available at that moment, which will then lower the prices on houses.
I still think it's going to be a while before that happens, though. We definitely probably won't see that in 2021 because you still got ridiculous interest rates. Like, everybody on closing in December is like 2.8, 2.6 interest rates. So as long as there's the low interest rates for buyers and we still have an inventory issue, it's going to be a while before inventory catches back up where it turns to a full buyer's market again. It might be a little more balanced, but it's going to be a while before we see
So last week, when I was talking to Jared, we were talking about the prices skyrocketing. Something that people, if you're not involved in real estate, but you wonder why real estate is so expensive, is because there's a lack of inventory and an abundance of buyers. That means on the supply and demand curve, there's not enough houses to supply those looking. Therefore, the price is going to increase because the bidding and the competition war begins, which then inflates prices that may not be really true to value, but that's just kind of what's going on.
We also had a perfect storm with COVID because when COVID hit the interest rates, once they bottomed out at like 0, then you got people getting mortgages at 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, which are like unheard of rates. Some people's student loans are that way. So that dumped a whole lot more buyers into the market, but there were no more houses. So some game that we might want to share with them. Today, you're not really buying for the price point of the house. You're really purchasing the rate. Yes. So we're typically looking at like what the price of the house is, because we're told, hey, we could afford a house of, maybe 150,000, 200,000. That's our limit because of our debt ratio. Today, though, we could get a house that's
$300,000 because we save a point
Right.
or so today. So that's
Which
dope.
is another note to any of my clients or Eric's friends that may be watching. If you own a house, please refinance now before rates go up.
So I refinance. I give them an example. I paid about $10.50 a month for my home. And then basically I refinanced it. Now I pay $850. So I say $200
For the same house.
for same house, same loan.
Did you take out any equity?
I didn't because I have a heat lock.
Okay.
And so, you know what I mean? But basically, had I taken out the equity, she's saying, did you take any cash out the property? So I didn't do that because I took cash a different way. Now, what led, as you're an investor, now you're going through it, you started with Keller Williams. Tell me about that experience with Keller Williams.
Keller Williams was an amazing company to work for, and that's one thing I would suggest, because there's a lot of people who want to jump into real estate, but what people don't understand, and you and I have talked about this several times, is that real estate school does not really prepare you for what you actually will do. Whether you're working with investors, retail buyers, you've got to have some type of mentorship. So they are amazing as far as they taught me everything I needed to know about contracts and introducing me to real estate attorneys and having title companies, mortgage companies come in and speak to us to give us, school us on everything that we basically needed to know. And then I worked under a few different brokers who had been there for a while. So that's why when I left, I felt comfortable being on my own.
Got you. Take a drink break, man. Don't babysit that.
Man, listen.
Take a drink break.
I'm not
cheers,
a heavy
man.
drinker.
Welcome to Entrepreneur, man. You know what I mean? Okay. Welcome. Cheers. Now, when you became your own entity, what were the new challenges that you had that you didn't have when you were working for a broker like Keller Williams?
Everything. So, and I'm hiring, by the way, because so at Keller Williams, I had an assistant. We all had an assistant, an office assistant. She did the paperwork. She entered our listings for us. She handled deposit of earnest money, basically everything outside of actually having to show the houses and write the contract. So in addition to having to get errors and emissions insurance for myself, I am my own CEO, CFO, accountant, admin. I have to enter my own listings. I have to show the houses. I have to write the contracts. I have to reach out to an attorney if I have a question about a deal that's going on.
But don't let her bullshit y'all, though. She making more money, though.
You do make more money, but you have less time. And so that's where the time value of money comes in.
Understood.
So that's why I'm looking for, I don't really want an assistant. I'm comfortable with what I do because, I have that admin function in me anyway, and I'm very OCD about contracts.
So when you say that admin function in you, that you just basically tell people you controlling, but keep going. You like control. Okay, keep going.
I do like control, but at this point in my life, I think that I'm ready to turn over the reins a little bit. That's why I don't want like an admin that I have to pay hourly. I want a broker that's experienced, that can kind of do what I do and kind of add to my company and build it. Because I feel like I could do a lot more business if I had another broker.
So we understand what they could do for you.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do for somebody coming to work for you?
Mentorship, because I have seen buyer's market, a balanced market, a seller's market. I work with investors and sellers, first-time home buyers. There's a lot of programs out there for first-time home buyers now. So I would be able to give them that training that they don't get from just real estate school.
Got you. All right, so promo hour is over, but we go end it with, make sure you go to Entrepreneur if you want to do any wholesaling acquisitions, man. Make sure you take the acquisitions course. We're having a class this Saturday, so it's going to be great weather at 12 o'clock. Make sure you text 317-597-2347.
Please go to these classes. I can't say this enough. And I'm not pubbing him because he's my friend and he's one of my clients, one of my richest clients. I'm saying that because there are a lot of people out here. I see it all the time on Instagram, the internet. They want to charge you for anything they teach you, all the knowledge. You were giving people so much free game and they don't even understand, like there weren't people 10 years ago taking you to houses, showing you how to break down a cost estimator. Like if you want to learn how to rehab houses, wholesale houses, they really need to go. You guys need to go to these classes because it's free game and anywhere else you're going to be paying.
But it's the key to the game too, though. Understanding how the repairs will make or break the deal.
Right.
All right, so let's really get into it. All right, so we started working together in 15.
15 was a rough year.
It was the beginning of a lot of, I had to deal with
This
some
wasn't even
bullshit.
here.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
this
picked
cute.
this.
Dead.
Okay.
All right, so, I'm at the little house.
Man, the little house. I miss the little house.
Yeah, like your desk we was like nothing but
Man,
typing
like
that
roll
thing.
around. Look.
All
look
right,
back.
now I'm trying to figure it out. I got a little bit of money. I'm trying to like do rehabs, but we're making like 17,000, 27,000, or no money on deals because of bullshit. And I'm learning and I'm trusting people, and so that was basically the cost of education at that point.
Right.
Now, when you first came in, we had like a different perspectives in real estate. So, what would you say your perspective coming in was of like when I was just looking for leads versus what you were accustomed to trying to find me, and I was like, that don't quite go.
Yeah, like it was like this, and I had to always tell you. Remember, I would always say it's like you want to step in the shit. I tell you, Eric, it's shit right there. It's dog shit right there, and you be like, it's cool, and then you step in, you be like, damn, there was some dog shit right there. So I mean, you had more of an investor mindset. I had more of a retail real estate broker mindset because I was working with traditional buyers and sellers. But I think it meshed well because I was able to give you some of my knowledge when it came to that. And then you were able to show me, because investors look for different things in a deal than a buyer and seller does. I might be working with a buyer who plans I have clients now, they're buying their forever home. Like that's where they're going to be. There's not many investors who are buying forever homes. So you have to keep that in mind when you're running comps, when you're looking at the house. You got to always have, and I heard your other, I think the lender was talking about exit strategies. So, a lot of times when people are working with their clients, they're not always focused on an exit strategy, but you have to always focus on an exit strategy with investors, because even if you're getting a buy and hold deal that you plan to rent, things like COVID happen. You might decide, nope, not doing this renting thing anymore. I want to start flipping houses. So you have to be able to get out of that deal and not lose your shirt doing it.
So in essence, here at Sandcastle, what we do is any deal we buy, it could be a rental property, but that rental property fits into an exit strategy where we could wholesale it, flip it, and or rent it and still be profitable either way we go. Typically, that means that we have to purchase the deal at 70% to ARV. That means that the after repair value may be $100,000. We buy the property and do the rehab and everything at $70,000 or less. That means that we have a margin potential of 70 grand. Now, if I refinance it and keep it, that means that I'm going to have some cost there that's going to be above 70%, but the bank will refinance at 80%. So we're still getting a free home. If we sell it, we have the potential to make $20,000 to $25,000 after fees. Or if we wholesale it, we know that the investor on the buying end can make some money. Therefore, whatever market you're in, whether you're renting, buying, and or flipping, that's how we basically identify deals. Right. People need to know that. Now, time passes. I was flipping, it wasn't working. I had her hair company, it was growing. And
this was getting built.
Yeah,
you was going to get tile and cabinets.
That was wild.
You were making me drive that Predator van.
Hey, the van knows what's up though, bro. Like
he put me on the insurance of the. He was making me drive this big white Predator van that looked like, please don't go near school. But you don't let me drive the Benz.
Excuse me. But anyways, so long story short, as we progressed, I became a buy and hold investor, and we was scoping out properties. I would say that my first 9 properties, no. I would say that my first 7 properties, because Kelsey gave me 2, those were MLS properties. And
we've had good luck on the MLS because I know what I'm doing. Shameless plug.
So we bought them from the MLS, and you created a list, and basically she put a list together of my criteria to purchase, meaning 3-bedroom, 2-bath, ranch, township areas. And we had like a price point of 110 to maybe like 160 at the time. And so that doesn't exist anymore. That's why she laughs. So we really found homes for like 120 to 130 that were distressed. And that was in 16. We bought between 16 and 18. But in a year to 2 years time, we were able to refinance those properties and pull out $250,000 in equity. So that was tax-free money that I received after I refinanced just with MLS property. So if you look into MLS, you could get deals. The way to do that is to tell your agent, hey, can you put me on a list where I get emails every day of homes that fit the criteria, my purchase criteria. And that may be, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, Pike Township, Washington Township, Warren Township. And you get that every morning. So my job was to just make sure I looked through, and I got accustomed to understanding the neighborhoods and the average prices. So as soon as I seen something that I felt like was way below the average, I would call Natalie. We would instantly have to, make a V cut to the property and make an offer. In the beginning, we struggled though, because we was just trying to finance, and I was trying to give a low ball offer. So like I basically began to offer above asking price, and I started purchasing in cash. And so like we then started to get traction. I purchased in cash, and we refinanced, and then did what we needed to do for me to get my money. Now, as time flew by, your time at Sandcastle went from 30 hours to 20 hours. All right. And then it went to 10 hours. This year, we ain't seen you. Ziggy, you ain't even seen her at work.
That's a lie.
Hey, man, hold on.
That is a lie. Ziggy has
Hey, hold on. Time out. We got time out.
No. There's no timeouts. There's no timeouts in podcasts. There's no timeouts in podcasts.
We got your workload right here.
No.
We got your bills.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. This might look bad, but let me say something. These are the benefits of entrepreneurship. You don't have to come in the office. They send a buck. It's called work from home. So.
But yeah, man, she ain't been getting shit done. That's what that tells you right there.
Did you really just give this to me?
Yeah, that's your work, man. Take homework. But anyways, so long story short, you start working less hours because you were getting busier doing what you were doing. And so Ziggy came in and was like, man, I ain't seen that. And I was like, well, Nat's business kind of changed. Obviously, COVID has caused sales to go through the roof. You're obviously growing as an individual and everything. But the truth is, you also got more investors.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about the shift where you became more investor friendly.
Probably around, well, I should say I don't just work with investors. I'm about 50-50, which is why it's so time consuming, because you guys know what you want, what you need. I might have to show somebody else 20 houses because we're writing 5 offers, $20,000 over list price because we're getting out big because they all have loans. Whereas you and my other investors can buy in cash and then refinance on the back end. So when I started working with you was kind of the change. When I was in property management, I did some work with investors, but I liked working with buyers until the market changed, because I get a lot of joy out of working with first-time home buyers especially. So I was really buyer heavy. Around the time I started working with you was also around the time the market kind of started to change. You bought your house, I bought my house, and we started to see those prices going up and up and up and up. So that made more room. Investors were coming and buying, like these hedge fund investors, they're buying up 1,400 properties at a time. You and I were going to the tax sale, and shout out to Jeff One.
Jeff One would
everybody
buy
thinks they're going to
30 homes, and we would get none. It would be 100 investors in the room. Jeff One buys every home.
I think people think we were hating, and like when we would tell people, bro, don't go to the tax sale. Like I think people thought like we was trying to say that so that like we could go get the deals. No, you don't understand. We would walk in there with $100,000, $200,000 cash and walk out with nothing, because people are walking in there with $10, $20 million cash, buying 10, 20, 30 property. Like you can't, and they can always outbid you, because at that time we were struggling with contractors too. So that was, I think, when the market started to change. Was kind of when it started to shift. And
everything Jeff One now bought is like
winning. I mean, it was like the running joke in the tax sale. Like,
It was.
I mean, every time they called
every
the
month,
bid, he
it was Jeff
winning
won.
them. And it's like, how much money did he bring here? I mean, because at the tax sale, you might have 100 properties.
That was
like,
straight up BDE, bro.
And going to the tax sale, people don't understand the real work. Like a lot, I hear people talk about, oh, the tax sale, the sheriff's sale, this sale, that sale.
So
like,
this
you
is
don't
what
know
this
the work involved.
I will give you 1,000 properties. You will literally filter it to like 40 to 100 properties.
A book like this, and I would come in. It would take all week. I would filter
and do comps.
We'd have to get in the car, drive around because they're not listed on the MLS.
We was in the van getting it in.
In the van. We would have to drive around, like peep through windows, like in the shadiest, seediest of areas, dudes rolling up the work bikes. For Jeff One and stuff on bikes, beating us back to the courthouse. Like that was a time to be alive.
It was. Now, that's happened. Like, tell me about how has working for investors as a realtor impacted your business?
I will say I network with a lot more and different types of lenders now because when I was just working with retail buyers, almost any lender works fine. As long as they're going to do their job, get things done, make sure you get to the closing table. Most lenders will be fine, rates good. You know, you got a pretty much blanket checklist you want to check off to make sure you have the right lender if you're a retail buyer, just a traditional buyer and seller. Investors have a lot different needs.
Correct.
And I think we struggled too in the beginning working with lenders who didn't really know how to work properly with investors.
Correct.
So I've learned a lot from
we didn't check their ass. They fuck with me now. We didn't check. I didn't popped off 100 times. But today, they look out.
I mean, there were deals we lost that we should have had. I mean, deals under 100,000 because the lender didn't know how to process your finances right, or the deal correctly, or appraisal correctly. So
today, those houses.
I don't want to talk about it because we had one for like 87,000,
and one was 72. Yeah. Both of them are worth $100,000 more, and she lost them. Man, that hurts. I think you saved those deals in the file. We still got them.
I did on purpose.
All right, so you working with investors. You said that you start building a relationship with lenders. One thing that people, especially of our culture, don't really understand is social wealth. And so what I mean by social wealth is the ability to network. This does not mean your network is your net worth, but the ability to socially be in a different position with different people that don't think like you think, like astronomical, and that move differently, but you're connected with them. I may need a resource, and I may literally be speaking about my necessities. And that person's like, hey, I know this guy that does this and this guy. And now you have options. A lot of times we abuse that. And it's like one of those things, what can you do for me? But the reality is that, people don't know this, but I had the hard money lender giving me $100,000 every 6 months. That's because I had a great relationship with my accountant. And he benefited as the lender. My accountant benefited as I've never left Jerry. And I benefited because I was able to grow my companies. And we would need money. I'd be like, help, let me move this money around. My guy's about to let me get 100,000. And so social wealth is something that we need to start like really, really, really honing into, and really just understanding that it's not about what can you do for me. It's just status quo. You no longer hang out at the YMCA or the local bar. You hang out at the yacht club because their conversations is totally different.
Very different.
And, they say you are what you eat, you are who you hang around with as well too. And if you aspire to be a millionaire, you should hang with millionaires and things of that nature. So like, I think that's huge. Now, when you work for investors, as in contrast to, retail, there's the pros and cons. What would you tell today to somebody who's struggling in your industry as a realtor? Like, what advice would you give them to kind of like assist them in propelling their career?
So there's a couple things that I tell them. The first thing, which I kind of did myself as a young realtor too, is don't pigeonhole yourself. Like I used to always say, I just want to work with buyers. It's fun to work with buyers. But then the market changed to a seller's market. So it's harder for buyers to find houses. Buyers were becoming more frustrated. It's a lot harder to work with buyers. Like how the sellers were frustrated because they couldn't sell their house. Now the buyers are frustrated. So if I had just stayed in that, I only want to work with buyers, then my business wouldn't be what it is today, because you're not always going to just be able to take your client out and then find a house right away. So I would say try different things. That's why mentorship.
Like what?
So start with a brokerage where you can do things like work with sellers, work with buyers, work with investors, meet with contractors. Like you really don't know what you want to do starting out. So don't just say, oh, I would want to be like, if you go to the larger brokerages, like there'll be agents who say, well, I just want to be a buyer specialist, or I just want to be a listing specialist, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But if you really want to succeed, you need to be out meeting with investors, like the SORIA meetings. Like you can't just go to the MyBoard meetings and the meetings in the office. You really need to expand that. Meet with contractors, meet with investors like Eric, meet with people who have done well but have also failed, because you can't always talk to people who just have success.
So everybody who's done well has failed though.
Right. But some people aren't honest about that. You know, that they like the glitz and glam, and it's like, I make $20 million a year. Yeah, but tell us about the time you lost $10 million in a year. You know what I mean? So, I would say definitely don't pigeonhole yourself. Get out, get experience, meet with contractors, meet investors, meet property management companies, because there's so many different avenues you can take in real estate. Like people always think that, okay, I'm either going to get a license or I'm going to flip houses or hold rental properties. But there's so many different things you can do. You can do commercial, you can do property management, you can sell houses, you can work with investors. You might want to be on the lending side. You might realize that you don't want to be out selling houses and finding houses. You might want to be
an
the
inspector.
person you might want to be an inspector. You might want to be a contractor, because boy, HVAC contractors, ask Eric about all them ACs from last summer.
I bought literally 4 to 5 ACs and furnaces. That was like 25,000.
Yeah.
Man, that
so
hurt.
I mean, there's different avenues. I would also say mentorship is very, very important, because again, the class does not teach you everything you need to know.
So let's pause there. So we're in an era of individuals who they really don't understand. They don't understand paying their dues. We're in a social media era where I know my worth is promoted because you got a college degree. But to be honest with you, 99% of motherfuckers with college degree can't come in my office and really assist with anything.
Some people with a college degree can't even do an interview.
But it's not even about that. What I mean by that is you could be a doctor, but if you're a doctor and you want to become a real estate investment, you really got to humble yourself regardless of your title or your prefix, and really understand it. You're not a doctor over here. Yeah. I say that to say that you have to. There's a reason why there's volunteer work available. There's a reason why there's paid work available. The truth is that a lot of us want to get paid for our time. Want to get and to be really honest, a lot of us are adults with responsibilities, but that's when you're young. So young people should volunteer free time into crafts they want to learn, because the truth is, if you do a great job, you get hired on, and that's how you really somebody really dips into you and gives you information that you could really make, that you could really apply to grow in. And so we have a situation to where there's a lot of realtors out here. There's an excess of realtors. I took the class. I just didn't take the test because I wouldn't be able to teach if I had a realtor license. So the truth is, a lot of realtors are stuck. They don't really have any direction. The people, they're just a number at their agency, and they won't work for you commission based because they feel like I got to get paid for my time, but they don't realize, and they don't put value to your experience and in your losses.
But they also don't understand entrepreneurship, because kind of what you say about value for your time. if you want to be paid for every hour you're working, real estate is not the business for you.
Ooh, say it again.
If you want to be paid for every hour that you're working, real estate, I don't care whether you're a broker. I don't care whether you are a contractor. I don't care whether you are an investor. Real estate is not the business for you because there are long hours you don't get paid for. Even as a broker, I don't get paid till I close a deal. So if I show 100 houses to a client, none of that matters. I'm not paid for my gas. I'm not paid for the contracts I write up. I'm not paid for the paperwork. I'm paid when the deal closes and they sign on the dotted line.
And that's 30 days later.
Or 45 or 60 or 120 in this market because they might get pre-approval and we might be searching for houses for 2 or 3 months, writing offers for 2 or 3 months before a deal actually closes.
Pay attention.
So don't think that you're too good to volunteer, intern, get paid just a little something on the side to learn the trade of real estate, whether it's investor or whatever you want to do, because it'll pay off in the end, but you're going to have a lot of hours you work. I don't get paid every time. How many times you hit me up, hey, Nat, run these comps at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
I've really been taking that light on you, man.
You have, but at the end of the day, this is, now you taking it light, but you weren't taking it light before. And it wasn't I wasn't billing him for those hours. It's just like, okay, let me hop on the computer when I get a chance, check this. People always want to know, what's my house worth? People want to talk about real estate all the time.
But before they think I abuse your time, she might get the purchase commission and the sale commission. So she double whammying with me. So like, don't let that seem like I'm a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy, but I just wanted to be clear. He drives a Mercedes and I drive a Toyota. Something ain't right.
Dead. Oh no, that doesn't work like that. I have other income. It's not from real estate. Trust me.
Real estate. We're both on a fixed income. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So give me the biggest tip you could give a realtor that, she has her license, but she's in the funk. Like you got this excitement coming in. They see people like yourself. They see successful guys and ladies out there doing their thing. They're talking like you, like, man, it's bonkers. You ain't even came to work because you busy. And
I am working.
So they're excited to pursue that. But we know today that entrepreneurship is a motherfucker. So what advice could you give somebody new in the market?
For a new agent, for a new agent, I already touched on a couple things: mentorship, networking, like you talked about, getting out there. I want to backtrack a little bit too, because another time that it kind of shifted for me, my mindset, was when you sent me to Fortune Builders. So I'm not suggesting anybody go out and pay whatever the price of Fortune Builders is.
It's $50,000 today.
So
I paid $50,000.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but they do have classes you can take that aren't $50,000. You don't necessarily have to buy in. So Eric sent me to Vegas 6 years ago.
I would say like 5 with Uncle Lathan though.
Oh my gosh! So 5 years ago, we went to Fortune Builders. That was when I met a lot of investors from all over the country. So that kind of shifted my mindset too in how they think, because Indianapolis too is the top market for investors. So you'll get a lot of California, Texas, from New York investors who purchase houses here. So I would say get out, network, take classes. Education is key with anything. I have to take continuing education classes every year because laws change, contracts change. Every time I go to continuing education, I learn more than I knew before. So it's very important that you educate yourself. I hate to call people ignorant, but a lot of people are. Ignorance just means that you don't know something. So you need to try to learn as much as you can when it comes to real estate, and that will help you. And while you're not, if you're an agent that doesn't have a lot of business, learn the things that you will need to know to help your business succeed. And one of the most important things that I would say agents need to do, especially if you ever think you're going to learn work with investors, is knowing the ins and outs of the MLS, or it's the BLC now, the BLC, and how to run comps. So many agents do not know how to properly run comps. And you are not necessarily going to run comps for a retail buyer the same way I might run comps for you or one of my other investors.
What's the difference? Running the comps for a retail buyer versus an investor?
So for a retail buyer, it kind of depends on what their needs are. If they're going to stay in a house 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, if this is their lifetime home, they just want to know that what they're paying for the house meets value, that it's going to appraise or come close to it. Sometimes now houses don't appraise. You do have to bring a little cash, but that's just because of the nature of the market. You're not really talking about, like we talked about before, exit strategies. With an investor, you always have to think exit strategy. So when I run comps for a retail buyer, I'm just running to make sure the value's there. When I run comps for an investor like yourself, I need to know the current value of the crappy homes that are there now, that are the distressed homes. I need to know the comps for the ARV value for resale. I need to know the comps for rentals in case you're going to hold it. And then how it looks like the market's trending too in that area. Is it going to go up so that if COVID hits again and renters don't pay and you want out of the rental market, are you going to be able to resell that? So there's different ways you have to run it. But the thing is that, again, that's not something they teach you in real estate school. So there are classes you can take at MyBoard, or you could teach yourself. I pretty much I learned the basics of comps, but I just kind of played around with it as I was working with you, other investors, to kind of make myself very well versed. And a lot of times when I have other agents, because other agents do come to me for advice on values in the area, where to find, they know that I work with a lot of investors now. So I get texts and calls all the time, like, I seen Eric bought this house here. Can you run some numbers in this area? Or other people that I work with, and they'll ask me that. But a lot of times what I see is they're not running the values properly. Like, they'll run a quick comp, but it's like, okay, how far? They'll take it out a mile like an appraiser. But when you're an investor, you're tightening that space in. Do not take investors' comps out a mile. A lot of the
Why?
people, you can for appraisal value, and that might be fine for where it's going to appraise, but one block is very different than another block. Correct. And that may be only a half a mile away, but I want to know what that tight area is doing, because if you got something that's on Winthrop, that may be very different than something that's on College.
100%.
But College is a mile away. So an appraiser will come and look and say, okay, houses within a mile that have sold in the last 6 months, they're worth $300,000.
Correct.
But houses on Carrollton, maybe where your house is, they might only be worth $209.
Correct.
And so I see a lot of flawed comps when I look, and a lot of agents come to me for advice on that, on running comps, because I'll tighten it down to a quarter mile. I want to know what's happening in the block and no further than a quarter mile around there. Because I've even seen that before when wholesalers or people send you deals and they send these crazy numbers, and you'll have me rerun the comp. Nat, look at these numbers. And the numbers are totally different. Correct. And a swing of 80 or 90,000, that's a huge amount.
Hey, so pause. Anytime somebody send you a ARV, meaning a comp of a home, and they say it could be anywhere between 220,000 to 250,000, just understand that that's bullshit. The reason why is because it should be at most within, I would say, 10,000. The only reason that's 10,000 is due to finishes.
And if someone sends you that, you better err on the side of caution and say, well, I'm going to assume I'm selling for 220. Because then
on the lower end,
the low end, please always err on the low end. Do not err on the high end of comps. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody was expecting a pandemic this year.
Correct.
You don't know what's going to happen with the market. The market could shift at any time. So it's always better to do your repairs, your cost estimators, your exit strategy based on the lowest comp or somewhere in the middle. Do not go with the absolute highest. That's your best case scenario.
Also, I'm going to take a break to just let you know the reason why I do my classes on Saturdays and teach repair cost estimates is just solely because that is where you miss the ball in identifying a deal. That is the most important aspect of finding a deal. If you have somebody like Nat that does a great job at finding and giving you accurate comps, that's good. So if I get a deal and I get them daily, and Nat says, hey, this home is appraised ARV at 300, but I know that it's being sold to me at 75,000, and I know I have to do $125,000 worth of work. That means that I can make possibly $100,000. That's not before fees. So after fees, maybe $75,000. But if I assume repairs were 125 and I was wrong, and there were 200 because I had to tear it down and bulldozer and just do stupid shit, that could bust the whole deal open. So it's very important to understand how to calculate repairs. And that's something that we teach at entrepreneur.entrepreneur.com. Make sure you sign up for the acquisition course. And that's where we kind of like basically like talk, have private Zoom calls and do a bunch of different things, man. So now let's get into something personal. You got all this information. You so smart and shit. Do you have any investment properties?
Sure don't.
So why don't you have any investment properties?
You want me to tell them?
Yeah,
the
you
IRS.
like talk to us. Tell them.
Essentially, because I don't have time. First and foremost, I haven't had time. If I'm able to hire somebody else, that's probably something that I want to get into. But I don't think that people really understand how much time, even somebody like you, they might see you partying, travel, and things like that. But
I ain't been nowhere this year.
Well, yeah, you will lie.
Man, I went to California
That's somewhere.
Bruh.
I used to be seeing you with a cigar in your hand. Man,
Ziggy, we be at the lake,
all
bro.
All right, let's get back on track.
Thank you.
So needless to say, it takes a lot of time because you need to have contractors on deck. You need to interview contractors. It's not like people think that you're just gonna, I want to get into real estate. Let me go find this deal. You find a good deal. Okay, now what? What are you gonna do? You gotta have contractors. You gotta have the time. You gotta check on contractors because we have we have one contractor. Shout out to Don that we don't have to babysit. And there's a few good contractors you don't have to babysit, but a lot of time, especially when you're new to investing, you should be babysitting your contractors. Like you need to make sure that things are getting done on time because timing is everything in the market too. So because I work with so many of you guys, I haven't really had what I felt like was the time to do that. In addition to, I'm an entrepreneur, so I like to write stuff off. So that's another key advice. If you want to be able to get leverage, aka loans, to buy properties, you need to make sure you're very careful as a business owner of what you write off, because lenders will look at your income. So I've got great credit though. Don't question that. It's a 790. So
that shit ain't shit if you ain't using it.
I mean, I own a house. I own 2 cars.
Just saying.
I'm about to send a kid to college.
So what I mean by that is this, not an insult to her at all.
I know.
So the truth is, everybody brags about having an 800 credit score. But if you have an 800 credit score for like the last like 3, 4, 5 years, like that means that you're not really using it. So you're bragging about nothing.
Not to mention that even if you have an 800 credit score, that's not going to help you with necessarily buying an investment property, especially if you own your own property too, because the lender is going to not only look at your credit score. Yeah, you got good credit, so that means a great rate, but do you have the income to substantiate a payment for your house, for your car, for investment properties, things like that?
So that's why you do the BRRRR deal though. They'll just evaluate the deal, not you. If the deal makes money, you make money, you get lending. That being stated, we teach that at Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur. But you're right. Something that you touched on, and I'm going to piggyback off, is paying taxes. So our culture, we gravitate to beauty. So whether it's, you like kind of like how you got that fresh wig on, ooh. And so,
shout out to Hair Theory.
So it's just one of those things to where, we don't claim the income that we make in a lot of industries that we work in. And, I understand why. I DJ'd for 20 years. I didn't claim any taxes. Some years I made $100,000. Some years I made 70 and less or more. Regardless, I didn't claim any taxes. So the reality is that I really couldn't invest. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have the comfort of having my money in my pocket, in my stash box or whatever. But the truth is that you can't become wealthy if you don't pay taxes. Taxes give you leverage to really obtain loans, debt, but good debt that can empower you to build wealth and passive income, such as rental properties, that could empower you to make money and allow your money to work for you and you not have to work.
Right.
And so that's something big, that our culture, psychologically and in past generations, like we just didn't do. And so, we are a product of our environments. And so we got to change that. So we got to pay taxes. You know, I put it out there. I paid $430,000.
He's not lying. I write the checks.
$430,000 in 2018 for 2007 income. That year, though, you know, we went from 0 properties for rent, and then we got 9 in a year.
Yep.
And so those 9 properties later, we refinanced them, put them into one loan, and I got $250,000 out of them. That's the $250,000 in from the refinance. So that's tax free. So that's equivalent to making $430,000. To add, I was getting the income, the cash flow every month. I was also getting tax deductions of about $65,000. That means that for my first $65,000 were not taxed that year. So there are a lot of different benefits to investing. Mm-hmm. The truth is we have to learn how money works to really, really become wealthy. But we have to start by paying our taxes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of intricate. I still pay taxes. I don't pay $400,000 in taxes because I'm not rich like that.
That was like one time.
Man, it wasn't that much less the year before that.
Chill. Like,
but
hey, man,
anyway,
damn, bro.
But the reality is, I mean, even I still have to pay taxes. With everything that I write off, I still pay taxes. But the reality is, too, I've been doing real estate for 11 years, and I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on whether I want to get into the investing game or what I want to do. I have some money saved up at this point in my life, and I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. But I just need you, like, as amazing as real estate is, and I love it, there's always different things changing. You can easily get burnt out in real estate. And so because I do have a passion for working with investor clients like Eric and my other clients, as well as the first-time home buyers and sellers, I just don't know if real estate is what I want to do in my spare time for extra money, as well, because, you know, what people always see the glitz and the glam. They see you, they see what you drive, they see how you dress, we see your shoes that you got on right now, you're traveling. No, but they don't see when you're arguing with contractors about windows, or when water's leaking back into a house, or when the foundation is mussed up on a house that we find, or like they don't see any of that. It's a headache. It's a gift and a curse.
I was working on Sunday. I was at 2 homes, talking to the owner about his house. I was taking pictures. I went to another home, and after that, like, you know, I had to do some other things and send out some prepare purchase agreements, which is not that difficult, but regardless of, you know, like, that's what I had to do. And I didn't get to watch football all day and sit back.
And I do like those things. Like, my daughter is a championship swimmer. I like being at meets and not necessarily having to check on things with a house or a tenant bothering me and things like that.
So what is freedom? What is freedom to you as a realtor?
Time. I like to travel and time. And so that's what I feel like would be taken away if I got too heavy into investing in housing myself, because I'm already doing a lot of these same type of things for my clients like you. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'll say, and I'm not trying to knock anybody's hustle or what people suggest, but I hate when I hear people say everybody should be an entrepreneur. I hate when I hear people say stuff about passive income and use passive income as if you're never going to have to do anything. You still have to work for passive income.
So explain that a little bit more detail.
So as far as the entrepreneurship piece, you know, you have a lot of Instagram preachers and social media preachers who I say stuff like, start your own business, don't work a 9-to-5 for somebody else. Everybody's not built for entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Everybody's not built to run their own business. Everybody's not built to do the paperwork, the tax stuff, to know all the ins and outs of it. Some people are workers, and that's okay. I don't judge people that work a 9-to-5 just because I'm an entrepreneur, because the world can't run without people that work the 9-to-5. So stop telling everybody that everybody should be an entrepreneur. It's okay to have a side hustle. It's okay if you want to be an entrepreneur, but it takes a lot of work. And when people say stuff like passive income, I think people get this mindset like you just going to lay on your butt and just have money coming in like that. Now, you might be able to do that with something like the stock market, but with real estate,
Ziggy, I was telling Ziggy, I lost like 7,000 this week, fucking around with Tesla, and then
how? Why didn't you just? They were just up.
Just chill. That shit was sinking, and I got out, and we was out all day. I looked at the shit in the morning,
and then they would announce they were going to S&P 500.
At about 3:00, that shit was skyrocketing, and we was at fucking projects. and it went up $50 a share, and I had 100
in an hour.
And I missed the bus. I missed the
bus. Sold them?
Cause man, I went down like 6%.
We'll talk. That's another class, guys.
Yeah,
but needless to say, so that's the
hey,
thing.
when you go down 6-7%. At about 60, 70 racks, I'm sorry, but you got to back out of there. You got to go. And you come back when it's okay. But I lost. Ooh. So, yeah, I lost. We talked about that today. All right, so.
No, but so passive. So
real quick.
Okay.
Hey, she's going to continue, but any questions that you got, man, please ask me on my Facebook and or text me at 317-597-2347. Again, that number is 317-597-2347. It should be at the bottom, you know what I mean? So make sure you text me any questions. We got a few minutes left. It's 8 o'clock. We on the way out. But ask me any questions there and or on my Facebook. Hey, Ty wanted to know. He had a question. Ty said, do you got any pets?
Oh, you know what? Todd, don't send me no more hamster pictures. Yes, I have a 3-year-old Pomeranian. He's adorable. No one listen to Todd. He's not a hamster. He is only 4 pounds, but...
Got you. All right, so we got some information out there to him. Man, get some mentorship. You said you were hiring. You know what I'm saying. So when you're hiring, you're feeling like you could give people experience. You know what I'm saying. Really use the platform to leverage. So, if they come work for you, let's talk to them. What are you giving them, commission wise?
Well, that's to be negotiated in an interview. Holler at me.
Where can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Nat the Realtor, Natalie Hightower Realtor on Facebook. Okay. nchightower@gmail.com. I'm not putting my phone number out there.
That's cool.
So anyway, yeah, send me your resumes. I would prefer someone who has at least 2 years, 1 to 2 years experience as an agent. Preferably with a larger brokerage or agency, because you are going to come with a little bit more education. But I can give you the tips and tools you'll need as far as going over contracts, classes that you should take, things like that, to help you kind of build your career. Introductions I can make to different people, investors, contractors, things like that.
Got you. All right. So today you're working for investors. You're selling retail. Where do you see yourself 2-3 years from now?
In another country if things keep going the way they are. And yes, I may not have investment properties, but I do have an emergency fund for getting out of America. Please trust and believe. No, but seriously,
you're gonna be in the Philippines.
No, I'm gonna be in Mexico. But
okay. Well, El Chapo in there.
No, I've been looking at houses in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
Anyway. So no, in 10 years I see myself maybe as a grandparent. I still think I'll be in real estate in some capacity. Maybe I will move from the sales side of things to investing. I don't know that I want to do both at the same time. To get some more of that passive income, as everybody says, even though it's passive, but you're still working for it. Traveling, still making money.
Got you. All right. What have you learned from working at Sandcastle Investment Group?
I've learned that the first thing I learned is that Eric is toxic. That's
oh my
God! He's a great.
Hey man, turn this shit off. Turn this shit off.
You made me drink, and I barely drink anymore. So anyway. There's different forms of toxic. So whatever you want to take that as, then hey, Eric has taught me so much, not just about real estate, but about personal life, dating, things like that. Man, you will get a full life experience working at Sandcastle. No lie, Ziggy can probably tell you that too.
Oh my God.
But hey, no, on a serious tip, nope, I don't even want you to interrupt me. So this is the control part coming in. So on a serious tip, I learned better time management, that's for sure, because literally, maybe not so much now, but maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe even 4, there were times where we could literally be sitting doing paperwork, trying to assess a deal, and another deal come on, we got to jump in the car, go. So being able to juggle time management, another thing I learned was about interviewing people, trying to find good talent is so hard these days. That's why I'm kind of struggling trying to find somebody, even for my business. And I've helped you with that over the years for yours. So I've kind of learned what to look for in people. So my people skills have changed.
What are those things that may help some people?
Man, professionalism is hard to come by. So
what's professionalism to you though? That could be different per person.
So because of the age of social media, I feel like people don't feel like when they're trying to get a job, like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And so when you do have to buckle down and maybe go work somewhere or get a mentor or do an internship or get a job, they don't know how. And when I say they don't know how, they know how to apply. But I look at resumes that look like something a child did. And you're like 30 years old.
So there's a lack of quality of resume. Curation. The curation of resumes is very poor.
But it's not just the resumes; it's actually the talent. It's like there's no effort anymore because
they feel entitled.
Yeah, there's no effort made. That's the first thing you put in front of somebody is a resume, and
cover letter.
Yeah, cover letter, resume, any of that. So that's how you're introducing yourself. Like you haven't even got your foot in the door for the interview. So but to me, it's a lack of effort. People are lazy; they don't want to do it. They don't want to do the work. People want the money. They want the passive income. They want to be in real estate, but they don't want to do the work.
So what I say is people need jobs, but they don't want to work.
Yeah. They need jobs and they want to make money, but they don't want to work.
Gotcha.
They don't even if they don't think they need a job or want a job, they still don't want to work.
Got you. So you learned the interviewing skills and the filtering. What do you think you learned on the real estate side of things, on the investment side of things?
I didn't really have too much experience working with contractors prior to that. I did in the sense of inspection responses. So obviously retail buyers, they get an inspection on a home. We respond with what repairs need to be made. So I had communication with contractors as far as fixing, miscellaneous things on houses. Okay, there's a crack in the foundation or an appliance isn't working or the electrical or the plumbing needs updated, but not in the full capacity. Working with you, I got to work with contractors. Because we were in the little house. And we had contractors in and out constantly doing the building on top of the houses and stuff we were doing. So I got a full-fledged, thrown into the deep end of the pool of working with contractors, checking on them, knowing what needs to be done, punch out lists, things like that. That's stuff that I didn't have experience with before. That's another reason that I'm more balanced as an agent than some people, because even though they sell to investors, they've never really dipped their feet in the pool as far as actually finding contractors, interviewing contractors. I mean, with Eric, I pay contractors, I meet contractors, I've gone to get supplies. I go check to make sure they're doing the work they're supposed to be doing. I don't do that so much anymore. Like you said, I don't work. So
ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ain't that a bitch?
You know what I'm saying? People don't want to work.
Hey, man, take that shit home. Them bills, go ahead and pay them. I'm just saying. All right, so let me see. All right, we're going to talk about your retail clients, and we're going to get out of here. We're 10 minutes past the hour. What are pet peeves that you have with your personal clients? You don't single nobody out.
No, I won't.
But it's just, things where, you could decipher if, they're serious or not. And they're wasting your time.
Yeah. So typically, if someone wants to look at a bunch of houses, first of all, I don't even really show houses anymore without a pre-approval. I'll go over a few things. I'll suggest some lenders. You can use the lender of your choice, but I'm not going to be driving around to 5-10 different houses if you don't already have a solid pre-approval, because that's just wasting my time. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but the reality is you can't make an offer on a house these days without a proof of funds or a pre-approval. So we're just wasting each other's time. When buyers are serious, now there's not that many houses on the market. So most buyers are ready to write an offer as soon as they find a house they like. So if you want to look at 20, 30 houses and we haven't written an offer yet, then I have to question. Then that's when I have my come to Jesus with some of my clients. Like, okay, what is it we're really looking for? We started out looking at ranches, but now we're looking at 2 stories. You said you wanted a ranch. We're looking at 2 stories. I know there's not much on the market, things like that. Kind of sometimes when buyers have too much family involved, that can be an issue. Sometimes parents are buying a house for kids. Sometimes
Where does that shit happen
I
now?
have one closing next month. The parents bought the house cash for the
Mama,
kids.
if you listening, man, get that shit together, mama. I love
Miss
you.
Indra, you ain't got to do nothing. Miss Indra, you already know, girl. You ain't got to do nothing. So when too many people are involved, because everybody has an opinion, and there's not enough houses right now to have a lot of opinions. You know, back in the day when we used to look for houses, I used to have people put like a needs and a wants list together. But the reality is now we got to focus on what you need because there's not a lot of, like when COVID hit, a lot of things, clients came to me and they were like, we're going to pool. Well, a lot of people in Indiana didn't have pools. Pools are $60,000 and we have like 2 months of summer here. So trying to find houses with pools was like a needle in a haystack. And then when you did find one, they were like ridiculously priced.
Tell me, man, we sell my mom shit. Get my mom some new shit. My mom got a pool.
That's what I'm saying. But there's not that many. If we were in Florida and you want a house with a pool, no problem. But to find one here, so really getting people to, too many people involved in the transaction, even if it's just the husband and wife, I need y'all to both be on the same page. Cause you know, if y'all got a toxic relationship outside of looking for the house,
hey, why she
that's
looking at me
gonna
like that?
spill over into looking for the house. If she needs a certain size master closet and you're okay with a sliding door closet, what are we doing? So just kind of knowing what you want, being pre-approved. I don't really have any. Most of my clients are really good.
That's what's up.
You know, I don't really have any issues. But.
So we definitely want to thank Natalie for coming out with the purple sweater and the pearls on it. You know what I'm saying? The pearl necklace, and you know what I mean? I feel like it was completely fake because she needed to come in here with the blonde and the red bottoms and the short dress looking
I'm
toxic.
past my popping bottles in sections days. I'm like, I got a grown child. I'm chilling. I wear sweaters now. Not turn up gear and blonde wig.
Thank you for, man.
I told y'all he's toxic.
I appreciate y'all sitting in, man. Another podcast, man. Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur, man. Big shout out to Ziggy holding it down for us. Big shout out to Nat.
That's my godson. I'm so proud of him. Like,
too funny, but
I've yelled at him and beat him so much in his life. I wasn't sure he was really gonna make it.
Hey man, put your hands on that man again. He gonna tag you back.
I bet you he won't.
But no, man. Again, thanks.
Thanks for having me. This is a good platform, and I suggest everybody take the free classes. Take the free classes
this Saturday, man. 12 o'clock, man. If you want to know the information, make sure you text the number at the bottom, man, and basically like come through. It's a lot of good information. You'll get to see them working and actually like executing everything that I'm talking about. When it gets super, super cold, I will actually do it virtual. So we got a pretty dope situation where, you know how you do like home tours?
Yeah.
But I'll actually be like, there'll be a video during the home tour.
That's dope.
Yeah. So like it'll be.
Can I make one more suggestion?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, me and Eric have an issue with this just because of our time and that we don't have so much time anymore. You hear him complaining. This is another suggestion I make to whether agents or anybody. Pay somebody for their time. Like it does not have to be. You don't have to pay me if you ask me a question about real estate. I have no problem answering questions. But if you let people, they will occupy all your time, and it's That's like correct. We have other stuff going on, and we're happy to help people. But sometimes to get knowledge, you have to take somebody out to dinner, take them out for a drink. Eric likes cigars.
Out the gate.
You know, stuff like that. Like a little small token of, you know, I want to use your time. Like, because he has kids. I have kids. You know, we're doing all these projects and working. And I'm not saying you got to tell somebody, well, I need an hour of your time. I'm going to pay you $10, $20. But you can get so much information taking somebody to dinner and sitting down with them. You know, just a casual conversation. You'll probably get more than if you just text me or Eric or, you know, can I get about an hour of your time? You know, want to talk us? Because people will ask you for a lot. You spend a lot of time giving out free information, and it's like people won't come to your class. But
we 300 strong.
No, but I'm saying, but there'll be somebody who could find a Saturday to come to your class, and
Definitely,
they won't.
Definitely.
And then they'll want to call you and keep you on the phone for an hour.
So this is what happens, man. If I may segue into what she was saying, the truth is that, you know, she told you I've taken fortune builders. I've done so many different courses. I probably spent over $250,000 in class in the last like 5 to 6 years. No exaggeration. But the truth is, I also have the experience because I applied what I learned. And that's more powerful than the knowledge I gained, because the knowledge I gained just gave me direction, but the experience actually gave me the lesson and the truth of the process to curate my own way of doing things. My way is not the right way for everybody, but the truth is when you want an hour or when you have a question, when I teach you something new, you're going to have another question. Yep. And then that's going to go into 2-3 questions. And then you're going to want to understand the sequence and the process of it that may take some time. And, there's individuals who make a high level of income, and those individuals have invested and or lost a lot of money to gain the experience and knowledge that they have today that is actually profitable. Therefore, that's their cost of education, and you're trying to get it in a DM, an inbox message, and or what you think is a 5-minute conversation.
They're never.
5-minute conversation is an hour conversation. 15-minute conversation is a 2-hour conversation. I am getting started conversation is actually a day worth of mentoring. Yep. Therefore, you got to understand that you have to, as somebody who is trying to get involved, you have to bring value to the table in order for us to return that. Regardless whatever it is, it doesn't have to be us. It could be anybody. Therefore, if you don't bring anything to the table, there's not a lot of conversation. It's not that she's rude or anybody else is rude that does not answer a message. It's just because there's no value and or anything that could support our time.
And there's so many messages you can't respond. Like, it's not even about being rude. Like, if you get 10 messages, plus you got your own work to do, and you got to check on contractors or go show houses. Like, you just don't have the time. So then, and neither one of us are people who like to do stuff half-assed. So ask a question. I want to be.
So the truth is, if you tell Natalie, hey, I need an hour and a half of your time, let's go to Ruth Chris. I'm not saying that she will go. I can't speak for her, but she will definitely consider, because now you're investing into her. She has to fucking eat that day. So
and you're going to get so much information
that is worth more than what you're paying for. But we have an entitled mentality that, come on, man, help a brother out. But the truth is, like, your time is worth something. So the lesson here is to ensure that anybody who you interact with, you bring value. Any room you enter, you bring value. And, a lot of us look to take and to absorb and see what people could do to me. And again, that goes back into the social health. Mm-hmm. So, and
not only paying for the time, but exercise the opportunities when you can get free education. Like, if he's having the classes, go to the classes. You can't hit him up on Sunday when he's with his kids after he just had a class Saturday, and you could have come and asked every question you wanted to know, and then expect him to spend 2 hours texting you on Sunday about what you taught for free on Saturday.
No doubt. And that's it for us tonight, man. Have a good night.